What's going on, guys? Austin Zaback here with another video, and in today's video we're going to be getting into the nitty-gritty of wholesaling real estate in 2022. There's a lot of people on YouTube right now talking about wholesaling real estate, and I want to come to you and I want to share with you a bunch of insider things that I've learned over the last 8 years wholesaling over 2,000 houses, okay? I'm 27 years old. We've done a lot of wholesaling, and I want to talk to you about the marketing strategies that we do to consistently generate leads for our wholesaling company, where we're able to go out and close anywhere from 20 to 30 deals consistently every single month. And I want to talk about virtual wholesaling and so much more. So I'm actually going to show you a clip where I'm talking to a good friend of mine, Adrian, where we break down everything you need to know about wholesaling in 2022. Here you go. What markets are you mainly wholesaling in right now?
So wholesaling is Southern California, so Inland Empire, Los Angeles, Riverside County, and then Oklahoma's been on fire.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, North Carolina, South Carolina, where else? We're in Georgia. Where else did we go to? We're nationwide right now, but those have been the 4 major ones recently.
Now, you're nationwide. You're still living in California, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you're nationwide. What types of marketing are you doing to get the deals nationwide?
Yeah. We have 3 top marketing sources. For nationwide, it's PPC and cold calling.
Okay.
So we have 14 cold callers, and then we run a PPC nationwide.
Love it.
And then the third one is Instagram.
Sure.
So we get tons of wholesalers that need help selling their deals, and they come to us to help them.
I love that. And you're just putting out content like, hey, send me your deals.
Yeah.
Like, how do you get in front of those other wholesalers so they know who you are?
Yeah. So posting, hey, you guys have a deal you can't sell, reach out to us. We do certain real estate masterminds, and a lot of it is we're teaching real estate agents how to go find these deals, and then they don't know how to sell them, so they're going to come to us, and then we sell them.
I love that.
So we're getting them, helping them, and then we're helping them sell it.
How is pay-per-click for you right now? I know that pay-per-click is a hit or miss. Like, people either love it or they hate it, I feel like. Are you converting with pay-per-click?
Oh, yeah, it's our number one right now. Yeah, it's our number one. We just doubled our budget last week and a half ago.
What tips or strategies would you have for somebody looking to do pay-per-click? Like, is there anything you've learned along the way? I'd imagine that it wasn't always you killing it in pay-per-click.
We actually just lost like 75 grand last year from going with the wrong company.
Yep.
So to answer your question is we have to find the right company, right? We can't have somebody who has VAs in another country that are trying to figure out what keywords to use and how to properly position that ad. So we interviewed, and I asked a lot of people, right, connecting with different gurus, as we like to call it, in the market to figure out which company is really working, what's not, doing my research. And really the advice I have is find somebody who's been doing PPC for a long time. Find somebody who's been in the Google game for a long time. And those companies are hard to find. There's like 1 out of 1,000 that actually know what they're doing.
Wow.
And I see so many companies that have no idea what they're doing, over-promising. Their numbers on Instagram, right? Perception's reality. The numbers on Instagram show that they made a client $75,000, but they don't show that it took 3 years and $350,000 to generate that one $75,000 deal. So don't fall into the IG trap. Don't fall into the YouTube trap, and really vet the company that you're working with.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Yeah, no, and I couldn't agree more. I've used a couple different companies, and there's been companies where I've lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, luckily on the back end, I always tell my acquisition guys, like, there's been like 2 companies where we thought we lost a lot of money, and then we turned the campaign off, and I'm like, hey, you got to go back and pull a deal out of that. Like, go back through the old leads and make it like break even, you know?
For sure.
And both times they've gone back and like 90 days after the fact, like they pulled deals out of like the PPC.
Right.
So we've never actually technically lost money, but there's been times where I'm like, I thought we lost a bunch of money, you know?
Yeah.
And cold calling, I love. Cold calling is, I own a VA company. I went with, similar to your pay-per-click, I went with probably 15 different VA companies over the years that I hated every one of them, right? So I finally started my own VA company in the Philippines, but we hired everybody. We've got, people that do all the training, we have onboarding, we have quality control, we have our own internal dialers. I mean, we have everything, and I see it all. I have full transparency and visibility,
awesome.
right?
Yeah.
And so we actually, I have 32 full-time VAs, cold callers.
Let's go.
Internally, that just work for our companies. And then we have another probably 50 or 60 that I've now outsourced. I've given to people like you. And the goal is to get to 1,000 right now. So 1,000 VAs. So I love that. So how do you like the cold calling world?
Well, I came from the cold calling world. So cold calling for us has always been it's been a beacon of our business.
Yeah.
Last year we had an 11x return on cold calling.
Wow.
And then texting was huge last year too. Texting, we had a 12.5x return. X, keyword X, not ROI, X on texting. Yeah, texting was huge.
Like 1,200%.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it was insane.
For sure. Did texting fall off this year?
It did. The first quarter, quarter one, nothing. Ghost. Batch leads shut down, right? You had all of the restrictions from Twilio and all these different 10 DLCs you had to go through, and it really wasn't working. And then we found Launch Control, and Launch Control is not working. So for those of you that are watching it, we're using Launch Control.
Launch Control is a good one.
Yeah.
I think Roar is still good too.
Hands down.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But there was that, and there still is. Texting's one of those things where it's like, who knows if it'll be around in, a month from now, right?
Exactly.
But what I love about cold calling is it'll always be around.
Always.
Right?
Always.
Sure, you've got the do not call, and you've got this, and you've got that. But at the end of the day, a phone call is a phone call. You're always going to be able to call people, right? Like, what is going to take the place of a phone call? I mean, I can't think of anything,
I can't think of anything either.
So I love cold calling for that reason. And, man, I think it's so the way that you structure everything, so you've got these 14 cold callers, right?
Yeah.
They're outbound cold calling. Okay, so you're giving them data, correct?
Yep.
You're skip tracing the data, giving them data. Then they call, and then that goes to your acquisition guys?
That goes to our lead manager. And then our lead manager funnels it out, make sure it's a real deal, a real lead, and then they send it to our acquisitions manager. Then the acquisitions manager either calls it himself and or funnels it out to the team.
Amazing. Okay. Yeah. Phenomenal. And do you have, you're in a bunch of different markets. Do you have an office where you have people working out of, or is there, is that in California?
Yeah, it's in Dana Point.
Okay. And your acquisition guys are in the office, I'd imagine.
So,
how do you like structure that, right? Does one acquisitions guy have multiple markets he's in charge of?
Yeah, so we have our main acquisitions guy who's actually our COO. Okay. His job is to eventually be the CEO, right? So that's what we're working on right now. But his job is he calls all of them. He calls all the markets. And then depending on our acquisitions managers, they're strong in certain markets, right? So we'll know, like we have a new guy, Gabriel. He's mainly California, right? So we'll plug all of our California leads onto him. We have Laura, who understands more about a state dynamics and comps, right? So we'll send it to Laura. And then in worst case scenario, he'll pick it up and handle it.
I love that. Okay, phenomenal. Yeah, I think that's the perfect way to structure. I know that these are the questions that I had a long time ago.
For sure.
So I love talking about it because I know that viewers will listen to it and be like, oh my God, like, because nobody really talks about like the nitty gritty, right?
No,
and
it's all surface level.
It's all surface level. And I like the nitty gritty, man. Like the way that you have your business structured is exactly how we have ours structured, where you got the VAs, it goes to lead manager, and I think we call it like a lead analyst, whatever, same thing, right?
Yeah.
And then it goes to acquisitions, which I think we call like property solution specialist, right?
Yeah.
And
love it.
And and then we obviously get it acquired, right? Get it under contract, very similar. We're in most of the markets that you're in actually. And then you got dispositions, right?
Yes.
So I know right now the hot new commodity is what's the dispo thing that everybody investor lift. Yes. Are you doing investor lift? How are you dispoing your deals in all these different markets?
Yeah, so we have investor lift. We use it. It helps us in the rural areas, right? Like when we get a deal in bum somewhere,
which you get a lot of with pay-per-click.
A lot,
dude. I remember
random literally there's forest and a house in the middle of the forest.
Yeah, dude, when we did like pay-per-click, I'd always look at it and I'm like, what in the world?
Yeah,
like,
where is this?
Who's gonna buy that? You know. Anyway, so keep going.
Yeah, that's just too funny.
I know.
So disposition, and we use investor lift, so Nick's actually building out our disposition company right now because we know that Wayne Gretzky has a famous quote, right? It's not where the puck's at, it's where the puck is going. Mm-hmm. So we know acquisition is going to get a little easier. Yep. It's not going to be as hard as it used to. Yep. And selling the deal is going to be the kicker. Yep. Right? Can you get this deal sold? So reaching out to more mom and pops, right? Reaching out to large institutions, right? The institutional buyers, the hedge funds, really connecting with them because the hedge funds will tell you where the puck is going if we can pay attention. Yep. Right? So connecting with both of those. And then in California specifically, it's all mom and pop, right? It's finding the agent who wants to flip. It's finding the mom and pop company that's been flipping for years. Yep. That's what we notice in California. Out of state, we're noticing more institutional buyers. We're noticing more group buyers, right? Where there's like a mini fund of guys that are buying and really just connecting with those. So Nick just brought on a VA and her job is to call blanket all the buyers nationwide. Her job is just to call everybody and build a big buyers list.
Yep.
There's going to be
Get their criteria.
Right.
What are you looking for, John? We come across deals all the time. We can't take down ourselves. We'd love to send some deals your way.
Yep.
Like, talk to me. Like, what are you looking to buy? What areas? Is that kind of the conversation?
What's the buy box? Yep. And then when we have a deal, what deal does this buy box fit? And slide them right in.
Love that. And you're building all that infrastructure in like a MailChimp. I mean, are you building like a big email list for your buyers so you can like blast people? Like, how are you doing all of that?
So InvestorLift has a blast email that we use. So we do utilize their backend services for that. We have our raw data of obviously our regular Excel forms. MailChimp, we've gotten kicked off of like 15,000 times.
Same.
Over MailChimp. And we've noticed for some reason InvestorLift's email campaign seems to be working.
Yeah.
That and texting. So we're blast texting, right,
Love
everybody. And even we're pulling buyers, right? There's multiple different companies. I'll give you all the buyers, they say all the buyers, right? And we're scrubbing their phone numbers and then just also doing blast blanket text messaging.
I love that. Yeah. And that really is like, if you think about what we just talked about, right? When you think of wholesaling real estate, wholesaling a house, a single family property, to keep it simple, it really is as simple as like, okay, we talked, you do pay-per-click, you do cold calling.